At the apex of the esoteric bureaucracy known as the Convergence sits a governing body called the Invisible College. This council oversees a massive, cradle-to-apex pedagogical pipeline. The system is designed to elevate human consciousness through 4 distinct institutional tracks, moving a practitioner from raw potential to operational mastery over reality. This historical photograph anchors the foundational track, the Argentum Collegium. Operating as a youth academy, it grounds students in the strict doctrines of thelemic philosophy. This raw, natural landscape is the site of the second track, the Snake River Wizard School. Here, practitioners master a physical, embodied curriculum of hermetic magic, turning theoretical doctrine into daily sweat and blood operational practice. The final 2 tracks are LEVLS, which treats digital media and signal transmission as a form of high mysticism, and PEMEP, a deeply theoretical institute that merges traditional occultism with simulation theory. This schematic of the Convergence sigil maps all 4 of these distinct, often contradictory cosmologies into a single cohesive framework. The unifying ethos across every layer of this sigil is ascent. The explicit public goal of the Convergence is to elevate the practitioner, transitioning them from a passive user into a conscious weaver of the simulation. The system presents itself as a complete ascending map of reality, but an institution dedicated entirely to the light is blind to its own structural shadow. Deep within PEMEP's architecture is the sealed archive, a restricted data vault accessible only to the highest level practitioners. Among the standard texts is an undocumented manual for the Nod Institute. It is a completely hidden academy of the left-hand current, operating quietly within the Convergence's own records. This organizational flowchart reveals the paradox of the Invisible College, one unrecorded sealed seat occupied by an advanced graduate of the Nod Institute. That single red node participates in high-level governance, giving this shadow practitioner a direct hand in steering the entire system. The Nod Institute operates on a Cainite cosmology. They reject the foundational Convergence belief that the material simulation is a prison to be escaped or transcended. The Convergence is not the whole map, only the inside of the boundary. True institutional resilience requires integrating the forces that exist outside of it. This pulsating sphere represents PEMEP's primary methodology. They use John Dee's Enochian watchtowers as an internal API to navigate the simulation's generative layers. The Convergence assumes these watchtowers form the absolute limits of the system. The Sethite mindset waits for divine permission within the garden. The Cainite mindset builds civilization without permission, out in the wilderness. The Enochian matrix serves as a dual-sided spatial boundary. Mastery of the system requires knowing exactly what that boundary was built to keep out. The Nod Institute does not accept applications or advertise its existence. It operates entirely through undocumented recognition encounters, calculated, seemingly coincidental moments that expose a practitioner to the Institute's symbolic vocabulary. The target recruits are specific: Level 3 PIMEP Magisters, and highly experienced Snake River graduates. The Institute requires practitioners capable of holding paradoxical truths without collapsing them into simple binaries. Students from the LEVELS signal track are rarely recruited. Their focus on digital elevation and ascending transmission creates severe friction with the chthonic descent required by the Nod curriculum. Once contact is made, the recruit faces the threshold ordeal. They are forced to engage with a highly volatile piece of clephotic material, the shadow side of the Kabbalistic tree, and observed. Being overwhelmed by the material demonstrates a lack of technical rigor. Feeling nothing at all demonstrates a lack of the required esoteric sensitivity. Both are failure states. The successful reaction requires the practitioner to experience genuine, profound dissolution of their established identity, while remaining grounded enough to refuse to flee the encounter. The left-hand path has no use for rebellious dilettantes. It requires technically rigorous masters of the received tradition who possess the courage to unbuild what they have learned. The primary map of the Nod Institute is the Klephothic Tree of Death. It consists of 11 descending shelves, mapping the exact inverse of the ascending paths taught by the Convergence. Traditional teachings view the Qliphoth as obstacles. This vertical axis shows the crimson shells as the unlit interior of reality. PIMEP relies on the golden node of Tifereth for harmony. Downward is Nod's equivalent, Thagorean, generating true synthesis through productive conflict, refusing artificial peace. In the Convergence, the ultimate personal goal for an Argentum Collegium student is perfect unity with the Holy Guardian Angel. The Nod Institute answers this with Samael, the level 3 shell. Engaging Samael demands the radical dissolution of the practitioner's established magical identity. The practitioner must willingly burn away the esoteric persona they spent years constructing in the light-facing tracks. True descent is not a corruption of the ascent, it is an excavation of the self, ensuring the practitioner's foundation can survive raw contact with absolute reality. At the absolute bottom of the Crimson Tree sits the apex of the left-hand curriculum, encountering Thamiel, the 11th and lowest shell. Thamiel translates to the twin contenders. It operates as the absolute refusal of singular unity. This is the ultimate Cainite revelation. Foundational reality is constituted by irreconcilable opposition, rather than a peaceful, singular source. Reaching this stage requires the practitioner to hold two mutually exclusive truths in their mind simultaneously, without seeking a clean or comfortable resolution between them. Encountering Thamiel proves why the tradition's most advanced teachings always arrive in paradox. A single symbolic register simply cannot hold the complete architecture of the simulation. This brings us back to the central tension. Why does the highly ethical, ascending invisible college permit a Qliphothic institution to exist within its own ranks? The Nod Institute is the system's ultimate failsafe. A cosmological map that only faces the light is structurally fragile, rendering it uniquely vulnerable to forces attacking from the outside. The occupant of the sealed seat must hold both Level 5 Nod standing and Level 5 PIMEP Archon standing concurrently. This individual serves as the linchpin. They are the only entity capable of viewing the Enochian API from the inside and the outside at the exact same time. True Archon mastery is never found in perfect light or perfect darkness. It is the terrifying, sustained capacity to straddle the boundary of reality, operating the matrix from both sides simultaneously.